We'll meet the snakes in the middle ground, guys.
If you are not certain whether to keep something or throw it away, keep it.
Okay.
We can always throw it away later.
I just dug up a mammoth bone. Actually, it's a large cow bone, but I can pretend it's mammoth.
It's not unusual to have all ages out here. Sometimes, in fact, it's rare to have an all-college age class. Usually have people who've already been in the business world, tired of the rat race. They've decided to come back and do what they thought they always wanted to do.
Curles Neck Farm, located in Henrico County, Virginia, along the James River, near Richmond, is rich in American history. Prehistoric peoples occupied the land several thousand years prior to European settlement. Around 1635, Curles Neck was settled by Captain Thomas Harris, and later, colonial rebel Nathaniel Bacon Jr. built his home here. By the 18th century, the property was acquired by William Randolph and was passed on to 3 generations of Randolphs who operated a large tobacco plantation. In the mid-19th century, Curles Neck was owned by William Allen and was operated as a large farm. The Randolph Mansion and its outbuildings were dismantled by Union troops during the Civil War. Today, on the surface, there are no reminders of the once bustling village with dozens of structures. The site gives up its secrets slowly to students of archaeology at Virginia Commonwealth University. Under the supervision of archaeologists Dan Maurer and Beverly Benz, the students are discovering the past, along with the techniques of archaeology.
The first day is just that, getting a tent up, getting lots of weeds cut, getting cleared where we've already decided we're going to be excavating, and make it possible to start setting up an archaeological grid. Most sites in this part of the country have been plowed. That means a plow has gone through and churned up the original layers of debris in the ground so that we can't necessarily tell what artifacts go with what period they were left there and so forth. And so we use a method of sampling the plow zone in order to recover information about where the window glass is, where the nails are, where the bricks are, things that will help us get a better picture of the distribution of things around the site.
There's a plantation complex here, has 3 major brick houses spanning 200 years. The students are removing the top 6 to 8 inches of plowed soil that's been turned up by the plow over the top of the site. It has lots of artifacts in it from all different time periods. Whatever's been out here, of course, is going to be mixed up in the plow zone. Contrary to popular belief, artifacts don't move very far one way or another in the plow zone. They only move about 3 feet. They're screening the southwest quad, and right now they're cleaning up the floor. They have removed all the plow zone from the southwest quad, and they're scraping the soil or the next stratigraphic layer underneath the plow zone. You wouldn't have any features in the plowed soil because it's already been all churned up by the plow. So that's why we want to get this plowed soil off as quickly as possible.
If you sign up for it, be ready for work. I mean, you think it's going to be hard work, and then you get out here and you're like, wow, this is not playing. Especially, you think it's going to be hot, but when you get out here, you realize it can be outrageous hot out here.
It's starting to get tough to breathe, isn't it?
We're scanning material that's in the plow zone. We don't know where it comes from. We don't know how old it is. Could have gotten there yesterday.
There's a cool piece of earthenware up there next to one of those squares. Really cool.
Immediately, as soon as it gets in here, just start spreading it out, pull out as much of the roots and grass and stuff as you can, because it's just getting in your way. Among the rocks, here you go, you'll find some like this that are rough and odd and broken. That's an Indian hearthstone. That's a prehistoric artifact, so that goes in your bag. Keep your eyes open for anything that's unusual.
Just ordinary rock.
Ready. Toss it.
Okay, today we're digging in an area of this building. What was a garden was full of cobblestones, and while we were removing the cobblestones, we found several artifacts. One is a very interesting piece. It's a wine seal with the owner's name on it, R. Randolph, from the 1700s. And we found some with the dates on them. This one just has a signature, but we like to find these because they're very good diagnostic items for us to use to date, and also historical item because it does have the plantation's owner's name on it.
Hey, Beverly.
The goals for the field archaeology class is to teach them how to excavate in the field. We have to map the features so we'll know where they were, what they looked like, and then we excavate them.
We have that strip going out that she wants measured that I was scraping.
I've got 64.
Okay, good. We'll just map that.
And about right here.
No.
Yeah.
That's the second line. You're right.
This, is this not?
It goes right through here. Yes, it goes like this. Here's the end of your trench.
Oh, I'm thinking.
You're right, that other line does come, like right there. Right there, yeah.
The students we have out here, for the most part, have never done archaeology before. This is their primary training for the methods of archaeological excavation. What we hope to train them in is techniques or skills that would be useful digging any kind of archaeological site anywhere in the world.
Just for the record.
I want you to keep excavating until you think you've removed all the plow zone.
So just keep doing this with a trowel?
Right. Remember, you're excavating. When you're excavating, you're peeling off layers. And so you don't know what you're going down to. So you have to work from the known to the unknown.
I'd imagine by now I should have known that.
I mean, a lot of history has gone on in this area. The settlement, at least from what we found in the artifacts, I'd assume that the settlement started in this area about 5,000 years ago with archaic and middle woodland cultures. And it continued up until 100 years ago, and then it became a wheat field.
I feel like we're all really lucky that we get to work on this piece of land, you know, before it's turned into condos, because it's such a prime area for redevelopment, surrounded on 3 sides by the river. I mean, it's just a really beautiful area, and I just feel like we're really lucky to get to work on such a famous, I mean, it's a world-class site.
Archaeology is only about 15% field work. The other part of archaeology is back in the lab, conserving the items you found, trying to interpret what you find, doing your research that's needed, and finally the toughest job of all is writing the site report.
Some of the earliest evidence of prehistoric culture that we have out at Curles Neck is from the early Archaic period. We have some kirk-stemmed and corner-notched points, and that was from about 8,000 to 6,500 BC. We have artifacts from all different time periods, from prehistoric, 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. Artifacts are interesting because they help us to reconstruct the past. They add to the story. I particularly appreciate finding personal items. You hold that object in your hand and you think, wow, someone 200 or 300 years earlier than me held this object, used it, perhaps cherished it.
We set out this summer to locate and excavate what was called the laundry in 1806 here at Curles Plantation. And we've pretty much done that. We've located it. We haven't totally excavated it, but we've begun the excavation. Also, we have discovered that slaves lived in this building, and we've discovered that through the nature of the artifacts we found here, although we suspected that was the case. This may have been a stairway going up to an attic loft, which was the living quarters for enslaved servants living in a laundry building. Well, for those who might want to go on in archaeology, they will take away from this experience a very large suite of skills and techniques, from mapping and surveying to identifying the different strata in the ground, what we call reading the dirt. They will have learned something about how to read the dirt. They will have developed certain manual skills about how to use a shovel and a trowel and push a wheelbarrow. Just really basic things like that. For those who don't go on in archaeology, some of those skills are still useful. But again, I come back to, I think the ultimate value of this kind of a class is is something beyond the techniques of archaeology. For one thing, I think people will learn that history is not what they read about in their history books. We're still writing history all the time by doing projects like this. We're learning more and more details. We're often rewriting what historians have said.
We had this exposed, partially exposed. We dug an exploratory trench, like we've been doing over at the other site that we're gonna need to go down deeper, right along in here, and we were still following feature soil. So we went as deep as our feature soil was going. We were going until we were looking for subsoil where there was no more historic or prehistoric features, and we hit a brick floor that far down from the surface, from the current surface. So then we knew that there was another building underneath this foundation. This building underneath here is the 1630s Captain Thomas Harris house. As you can see, it was built halfway into the subsoil. So he came along and excavated just like y'all are doing, but he was excavating in fairly sterile subsoil. What else would have been out here when Captain Thomas Harris got out here in 1630?
Indian campsite.
Yeah, Native American artifacts and objects would have been here. So it wouldn't have been too much more historic settlement up this far. So he would have been one of the first people out here to have put a building down. There would have been a brick wall over here as well. We've removed all of it. We left it over here in this corner so you could see how the building was destroyed, how it fell apart. You can also see that there is an oven, a very substantial oven, in the Harris house, underneath the foundation that I'm walking on. It had a large central H-shaped hearth. There's a cheek right here, and there's a cheek over here. And there was a bake oven off to the side with an ash box that's covered with plastic now because we're trying to keep the vaulted arch from falling in. The exterior of the bake oven was covered with stones. You see that circular pattern of stones that's on the outside of the bricks? When we started to uncover this, all these stones were falling down into this pit. And we mapped those and excavated them. It was the chimney fall that fell down into the house as it was falling down or burned. This house burned, by the way, and we know that because of the evidence of the soil that came out and the shape of the artifacts. We think the Harris house went down in 1650s. But then Bacon came along, Nathaniel Bacon, in 1670s. And his house is right there, right underneath the plastic. In fact, Chris, you see that brick line, that rotten brick, right? Look this way.
To your right.
Yeah.
Down.
Bruce is standing on the wall to the Bacon house, which y'all have seen pictures in the lab. It had a tile floor with big square earthenware tiles inside of it. So 3 major houses right all in this area. Was the Harris house standing when Bacon got out here? Harris died in 1654. So we have to rely on the archaeology as best we can to tell us when we think this building was destroyed by what's in it and what's laying over top of it. And after excavating it, it looks like that the Harris house was down and filled in. In fact, it washed in. On this wall over here and back on this profile, there are these sandy layers that form a fill that's like several feet thick. Can you see that, where those cobbles are in that profile right there? It was an open hole after the building fell apart, burned down, and collapsed in on itself, and it washed in over the years. Then Bacon comes out, makes it his property, builds his house, And so the next stratigraphic fill that we have that's building up on the site is from the Bacon period. And we had Bacon period soil and stratigraphy that was capping the Harris destruction. So we really feel like that the Harris house was gone and destroyed before Bacon got out here.